So what is going on, guys? NandoPrince93 here with another video, and today we're going to talk about the iPad, obviously, just a little bit more. So over the past few videos, we've acquired as much hardware to kind of optimize your iPad Pro to the best of its ability. So what I want to kind of show you guys now is what's on my iPad Pro and what sort of applications and software I use to go about my day-to-day. Some of these are going to be for leisure, some of these are just going to be things that I use on a day-to-day, but then also I'm going to show you guys some of my productivity apps, some of my gaming apps. I'm going to show you guys pretty much what I use every single day, what I use every single week, on a monthly and even on a yearly basis, right? So I'm going to show you guys, give you a rundown of pretty much maybe my top 10, top 15 apps for the iPad Pro to, again, enhance your experience. Because now you have the hardware, now it's time to match it with all the software that comes with the iPad Pro and that app store. So let's get right into it, guys. So I told you guys this view was going to be a little bit different, right? So I wanted to give you guys an idea of my experience on the iPad Pro itself as to, what apps I use, why my screen is laid out like this. And I did a video in the past where I did show off my main screen and I did kind of walk you guys through why I got rid of everything. Matt Gonzalez had a great video of how he reimagined his iPad Pro, and the idea behind this is just to give it a clean and more aesthetic look and more productivity focused when it comes to what you need, right? So the only things that I have on my home screen are everything on my dock. So I maxed out as many applications as I could / folders on the dock, which I believe is 15. You can have up to 15 applications into the dock, and then 3 more of the most recently opened apps also go on your dock on the right. And then on the left-hand side over here, and I put a little white border on the mouse so you guys could see, I have my widget section. I have my weather, so every single time I open it up, I know exactly what to expect and what to wear in the mornings, even though we're at home and I'm not going anywhere. My shortcuts, I don't really use shortcuts too much. I started playing around with it a little bit, but ever since I got the Magic Keyboard, I haven't really used my mouse, so I don't have the need for the shortcuts anymore. Then I have my battery percentage. I always like to see how much battery everything has, especially when I have AirPods or any other Bluetooth accessories connected. I like to see how much battery all of my accessories and peripherals have. Siri App Suggestions, just to give you even more applications, at a glance at your home screen without actually cluttering the home screen, so I really like that. Screen time, and then my last two are trending on Google and the YouTube counter, which is very inaccurate, so I don't recommend using it. As you guys can see, we're not at 5,500 anymore, but that's the home screen, guys. So very, very simple, very, very open, very clean. That's the way I like it. So when I open it, it's not just like a bunch of information being thrown at my face the second I open it. Now let's walk through the actual apps that are on my dock. So these are obviously going to be my most used apps, and they range from productivity, social media, and whatever else. And I absolutely love how it's set up because whatever I need, it's right there in my dock for me. All right, so I'm going to start from the bottom left and go across the dock and kind of walk you guys through each of the different applications that I use and why I use them. So to start off, obviously calendar, that needs no explanation. I honestly don't even really use the calendar. It's mostly there for the date. So I just like to keep it there just to kind of leave the calendar open just in case I need it. And then you have both of the web browsers that I use. So if you would have asked me probably 3-4 months ago what my browser of choice was, it would 100% have been Chrome, because I use Chrome on my phone, on the iPad, on my work computer, which is a Windows computer. And it all just kind of syncs together as long as I'm signed into my Google account or my Gmail account. But lately, I've been gravitating more and more towards Safari, especially on the iPad Pro itself, because of how user-friendly and how desktop-like it's really, really been. With iPadOS 13, when it released, it gave you this desktop-class browsing experience through Safari, and I really like it. So what I've done is I've kind of moved all my passwords and all that good stuff in my bookmarks over to Safari, and I've been using Safari a lot more on my iPad Pro, more so than I've been using Chrome. And this is coming from a long time Chrome user. The only way I guess I would go back to Chrome on the iPad is if maybe they added their extensions before Safari did, but I doubt that's even going to happen because they haven't even updated their browser to look any different or feel any different when it comes to browsing the internet on an iPad Pro, especially now with the Magic Trackpad and the Magic Keyboard. It makes it feel more and more like a desktop or a laptop. So give us that desktop class web browsing experience. Safari is what I use for all my internet browsing needs on the iPad Pro. The only reason I have Chrome is because some of my passwords are still saved on there, so I use it just to reference. But I upload my videos from the Safari browser, I download files from Safari, listen to music on Safari, and anything you can imagine that you can do on the internet, I'm doing it through Safari on my iPad Pro. Next really nice app that I use every single day, and I've been using it also since iPadOS released, because when iPadOS released, there was a lot of issues with the native mail client. So I started kind of looking around, seeing what I liked, what I didn't like. I've played with a bunch of different mail clients, and then I just landed on Spark Mail, guys, and I love Spark Mail. Spark Mail allows you to, again, you can have as many different inboxes as you have. So I have my personal email and then my YouTube email. I haven't linked my work email because I don't want to. What I really like about Spark is how it categorizes everything automatically. So first off, you get notifications. So notifications is exactly what it is, right? Just an email sent to you notifying you that something's happening, right? So this is pretty much where all your spam goes, I would say. And then newsletters is even less directed at you. So for instance, Betterment, I am a user of Betterment, but they're offering me a checking account, so that's why it goes into notifications. Versus newsletters, MusicBed, I'm not subscribed to them or anything like that. So they just send you spam email, and that's usually where it goes. And then when somebody messages you directly, like a single person, it'll go into another category, which is basically a For You section that kind of tells you exactly who messaged you. You know, it's an actual person messaging you. So I really, really like it. It also gives you these little icons right here to the left. It uses the internet to obviously source the different logos. So some of them are there, some of them are not. It uses initials also. So I really, really like it. Big fan of Spark Mail. This is what it looks like when you open it up. It works with all the different gestures and all the different multitasking ones. So if I want to multitask with Twitter, it still works. Just gets smaller, obviously. So big fan of Spark. Highly recommend checking it out if you're not happy with the native mail client that Apple provides. Because like I said, it's been a little iffy since iOS 13.0 and iPadOS 13 came out. So if we continue along the path, this one's pretty self-explanatory too. This is just my Google Home application. Everything in my house, at least that is smart at this point, is all based off of Google. So I have a couple Hue lights in different rooms. I have a Nest thermostat. I have a Nest camera. I have a Samsung TV that I can turn on with this app. So this just gives me a nice little hub for all of my, smart enabled devices around the house. And I'd rather use that than have to go into Hue to change the lights, then have to go into the Nest app to change the temperature, and then have to go into the Smart Things app to turn on the TV. So this is just a beautiful way to to bring everything together from my smart home Google standpoint. So really, really like it. I use this on a daily basis to turn off and on things around the house. So that's that. Then you have files and notes. You use these every single day. Files, again, self-explanatory, to transfer files, move them around, and notes. Do a lot of my YouTube note-taking and then my work note-taking as well on the Notes app. Twitter, this is gonna be a shameless plug. Give me a follow on Twitter. I do a lot of giveaways on there, engage with you guys, ask questions as to what thumbnail looks better, like I did just recently. So if I go into there, my most recent tweet is which thumbnail looks better for this video, actually. So if you guys vote on there, maybe the thumbnail you chose will be on there. So definitely give me a follow, guys. We hit 500 followers without even me realizing, so that's freaking awesome. But again, use Twitter every day. I probably shouldn't use it as much as I do. I like Twitter's application on the iPad. It's just a bigger version of Twitter, and the UI is pretty nice too, so I'm a big fan of that. Photos, it's there. Shift screen, I've touched on it a million times with you guys. Shift screen just allows me to use an external display without it being letterboxed or without the black bars. Shift screen only works with web applications, so if the application that you want to put up there doesn't have a web portal or web version, it's not going to work. Hopefully we get a little bit of a workaround around that, but for now, this is the only solution that I have found that allows you to put a secondary display and not only stop mirroring, but also use the full, aspect ratio of that screen and not just be limited to that 4:3 aspect ratio that Apple's given us with the iPad Pro on a secondary monitor, no less. If we continue along the bottom dock, App Store, Settings, this is just my work folder, so I keep the mail client there just in case for work. And then this is my editing and creative folder. Obviously, not much in there, right? I rarely use Lightroom. LumaFusion is my editing app of choice. I believe it was $19.99 when I bought it. I think now it's $30. It might be on sale. So this is my, like I said, editing software of choice. It's just very robust, especially compared to iMovie. Maybe it's not as robust as a Final Cut Pro, but for me, it gets the job done. Use my iPhone to record, use my iPad to edit. I'm able to add LUTs, able to add music, able to add up to like 6 or 7 or 8 different rows of video clips to stack on top of each other. So for me, it's plenty. I'm not complaining for LumaFusion. There isn't something that I'm missing from it. Maybe a couple of YouTube plugins would be nice, but at the end of the day, LumaFusion is by far the best video editing application that you can run on an iOS or an iPadOS device. And then you have Pixlr. Pixlr is my thumbnail editor. I love this application a ton. My only gripe is that for some reason you can only use it in portrait mode, so it doesn't kind of shift into landscape mode, which I wish it would, because I think it's an iPhone first application. but still it works well. I just take the iPad off the dock and start editing away to give you guys cool different thumbnails for the videos. So that's my editing software of choice. And then you can go into my Google folder, right? You got YouTube TV, YouTube Studio, and then all the other different Google applications that I use, you know, maybe not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis for sure. So I like to keep all my Google stuff because I'm pretty integrated into the Google ecosystem, which is kind of funny to say because I'm very integrated into the Apple ecosystem as well. So I'm just living proof that they can both work. More of a software person on the Google side, definitely a hardware person on the Apple side. That is what's on my home screen, guys. And this method of cleaning out the home screen, I've done it, I love it, highly recommend you guys do it. I've also seen people add one row up here, which also is very, very clean look. I just like a lot of open area. And then when you swipe over to the right, these are my, you know, other applications that I use a little bit less often, right? And the ones that I'm gonna highlight here are Chime Bank, that's my banking app of choice. I'm actually gonna make a whole nother video just reviewing this application and this banking system on Monday with a new series that I'm starting called Save With Me, which basically just goes over a bunch of different finance related applications on the iPad Pro. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. I'm gonna go right into the games, guys. My favorite, I guess I would say 2 or 3 games are Marvel Strikeforce, World Series of Poker, and NBA 2K Mobile. I absolutely love these 3 games. These are the only 3 games that I really play. Red Rain and Oceanhorn were part of Apple Arcade, which I'm not subscribed to anymore, so I can't actually play them. And then Delta hasn't worked for me in a little while. That's just the Game Boy Advance emulator. But like I said, Marvel, oh, and how could I forget, Call of Duty has also been an awesome game, especially to play with your controller on the iPad Pro. So, but Marvel Strike Force, absolutely love this game. Couldn't recommend it enough. I've been playing it for probably 3 months at this point and haven't gotten tired of it. And that's probably the longest tenured iOS or iPadOS game I've ever played, at least on a consistent basis. And then we have, I guess, my home applications, just to control everything else. Got a Geekbench scorer right here, speed test, just to make sure my Wi-Fi speeds are where I want them to be. Also, NordVPN. So I wasn't not a big believer in VPNing because I was like, I don't know, I just didn't feel the need, from a security standpoint at least, I didn't feel the need to get one. And the reason I got one, right, I went with NordVPN because there was a promotion going on, so I signed up for 3 years on NordVPN. The main reason I got it is because I have YouTube TV and I tried to trick the system to believing that I lived in Florida still, which I don't, I'm in the Northeast, so I could catch Miami Dolphin football games. It didn't work. So I was pretty disappointed, but it does work with Netflix. And I've been using it recently with Netflix to trick it to think I'm in Canada, to be able to watch that Michael Jordan documentary that isn't on Netflix in America. So I highly recommend a NordVPN if you are dealing with something like that. Like, for instance, a year ago we were in the UK and I wanted to watch something on Netflix and it wasn't available, so I VPN'd to America and got whatever I wanted to watch on Netflix. So that is what I use NordVPN mostly for. I don't use it for security purposes, although you probably should at this point, but I use it more just to be able to go to different locations on the world, like go there and be able to watch the region-specific content. So NordVPN, like I said, everything will be linked below that I actually touched on and spoke about. But now just to kind of finish things off here, these are my media apps: Hulu, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Apple TV, Netflix. So I'm subscribed to all of these. Obviously Apple TV was free for a year. Hulu and Spotify are together. Prime Video comes with your Prime. Netflix, I get it through my cell carrier. So there's different ways you can beat the system to really maximize your dollar and make it go the longest way, because otherwise I'd be paying like 12 bucks for each one of these services, and that just wouldn't be smart, guys. So these are the media services that I use, that I'm subscribed to, and that's pretty much it from an application standpoint. So like I said, the main ones that I use are all in the home dock, all on the front screen, and then the second half, my second pages of apps, are mostly games, media consumption, things that I would not categorize as productive content, right? Except for my finance applications, which I use on a daily basis. So let's hop over to the other angle, guys. So hopefully I helped you guys get an idea of what I use on a day-to-day basis, you know, from an application standpoint, to again help my experience with the iPad Pro be that much better. So, I mean, if you guys took away some ideas, definitely feel free to download some of the apps. I'll have them all listed below. I'm not affiliated with any of these applications or any of these brands, except for ShiftScreen, because I've worked with him in the past. But again, I don't make money just for making these videos for him, guys. So, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the top angle view of the iPad Pro. Been working on that one for a little while. Shout out to Christopher Lawley for doing that in his video and making me want to do the same thing. So, again, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, peace.